It's a couple of us and all our note takers.
Are you under the rain, Stephen?
Farouk, yeah. It's been rainy out here, so I put my rainy in Paris background. Hey, uh, uh,
Looks really sad.
yeah, I quite like it. I like the video backgrounds because it keeps things interesting. But
Yeah.
uh, for you, I'll change it for you. Okay, there we go.
Ah, that looks better.
How's the cafe with the fan over the top work? You're in the dark, Farouk.
Oh,
Are you locked in a cupboard?
okay.
I just if it, oh there he is. I was going to say if you need help, just give me a safe word and I'll send help. I've got people go, hey
Ah,
Thomas,
Thomas.
you're muted, Tom. You're muted, Thomas.
Hello there.
What country are you in, mate? There's no sunshine here.
You don't recognize my backyard.
There's no sun. Where are you getting the sun from?
Now you're asking. I brought the sunshine with me, man.
Oh mate, what a wonderful day outside it is down in Birmingham. Farouk, I'm in the wrong place. I'm in Leicestershire now.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's not Leicestershire. You're not far from me, man. I need to pop a visit down to
That
you.
I looked at that before, and I'm going to spend the next 2 or 3 weeks around Leicestershire, and I know I'm not far from you. I had a look at that.
Yeah. So no, we definitely have to have a proper catch up.
Exactly right, mate. I know you're busy launching your business and all of that sort of thing. So, oh, mate, cigars. I've been off the cigars for 3 weeks as well.
How come?
I was getting into the habit. I was smoking little ones all the time. Like I was 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 a day, and that was just getting out of hand. So I thought, nope, cold turkey. I'm going to moor my boat in the middle of nowhere. Until I get to Leicester and I get to a cigar shop, I am not going to smoke. And we've done it. And locked on a boat with my wife, in a steel tube in the middle of nowhere, both giving up smoking was a risky thing to do as well.
Wow. Now, proud of you. Proud of you. So when I come down, am I going to be an influence then? A bad
Yeah,
influence?
I'm counting. Can you come down tonight? G'day, Steve.
Hello, friend.
Uh,
Hello, everybody.
how
Hey,
you
Steve.
go?
I see.
We're just getting started. Actually, Thomas, you probably never met Steve, have you? Steve, Thomas is a good friend of mine. Farouk is one of my original people I met at Extendly, who's now
Ah,
building an agency and
beautiful.
going really well in the medical field and all of that sort of thing. Thomas is a specialist in Meta ads and Google ads, and he's building a business called Ad Rehab, which basically looks at people's ads and sort of points out where they can improve them and all.
Nice.
Thomas, you give me the spiel, mate. You do it better than I do.
No, no, that was actually really, really good. I would say just to add on what Stephen has just giving you a slight teaser. Yeah, I work with people who have running existing ads and either they've reached a glass ceiling or they've hired someone suspect. So we come in and do our audit and diagnostics, and usually we find pretty common culprits and patterns that we then optimize, perform better, and then fingers crossed, our implementations is going to get them back to earning profits and a very good ROI.
So, Thomas, Google ads, Facebook ads, all the above?
Just mainly Google Ads and Meta Ads. Those are the two key platforms that we specialize in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And do you work with the businesses themselves or do you work with agencies?
Both. So I freelance and I white label for agencies, and then my agency we work with clients mostly coaches and mentors. And in the UK, I do have another agency that works specifically with dentists, and we've been operating for just about 7 years now.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I certainly run into a lot of businesses that aren't exactly happy with their advertising, so I will keep you in mind.
Please, yeah, please, listen, we'll
Of
connect.
course, I solved that same. Oh, it's a cigar smoker. Love it. I solved that same problem a different way, a complementary way. We complement each other. We don't compete with each other. But my company's called Flawless Follow Up, and so I help take the leads that you generate and turn them into paying customers and repeat customers.
That sounds great. Stephen, if you don't mind me reiterating my motto, I always say that those at the top collaborate, whilst those at the bottom are competing. So hopefully this roundtable here will have a lot in common and get to collaborate so that we all end up winning.
100%. It's a big world out there, and there's not one of us here that's going to do it all by ourselves.
Absolutely, and
like
that's the idea. Hey, Mike, you've been poking around my Facebook pages, have you?
Yeah. Hey, my feed's full of your posts, so I can't miss them. But I can miss a calendar reminder to jump on one of these. But finally,
yeah, it shows that what I'm doing is working then. But thanks, Mike. Mike's a friend of mine as well. Steve, this is Thomas.
Nice.
We're all friends here. Mike's got a business.
I'm not Mike's friend. No, I don't know.
A competitor.
Yeah. To be fair, Thomas is doing you some favors. Every time he comments on one of the posts, it gets bumped up further.
Yeah, on my stuff. Yeah, exactly right. We help each other. We do help each other out there. I always try and comment, and he tries to comment. But the idea, and that was what I was saying before Mike joined, was the idea of doing this for GHL Star Boys is to be networking like this. This is exactly what we're trying to do. We're not trying to sell anything and all of that sort of thing. We're doing it under the GHL Star Boys banner. But Steve and myself are actually doing one at the same time tomorrow as well that we're starting off next week. So you'll see links in my socials. It's the same link to join this one. It is to join the other ones because it's under my Zoom. So Brooke, add it to your calendar. Love to see you there. But we're talking more about sales and small businesses and going through basically teaching grey-haired, trying to pass some wisdom from two grey-haired old Muppet gits on how to do things. Is that about right, Steve?
Yeah, but my daughter took a look at the Muppet you created for me, and she said it looks like I got a ball sack for a chin.
You do, don't you?
I said, actually, it looks kind of right.
Yeah, I was about to say that you haven't looked in the mirror for a while, have you?
I got to grow a beard. I got to grow one of your beards to hide it.
That's why I'm doing it. I'm actually in the middle of nowhere and can't find a barber at the moment. So as I was telling everyone before, I was smoking lots of little cigars and it was getting out of hand. I was becoming a smoker again. So my wife was doing exactly the same thing. So we parked ourselves in the middle of nowhere, no access to shops, living on a steel tube, two people giving up smoking, spending 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we're still married. So something's good has happened. But the theme that I was going with this call is Steve Rosenbaum is a friend of mine, and we all got GHL agencies and all of that sort of thing. And Steve really addresses a lot of things that most agencies miss when they're starting out, the easy wins, because just about every business out there has an email list or owns their data or has a database in some little way. So while you're waiting for that A2P approval or warming up email domains or whatever it might be, there's many, many things that you can do. And that's why I asked Steve to come along. I'm not sure if you can stay for the whole call, but talk about database reactivation, because from my 7 years in the GHL space, there is nobody better at database reactivation than the man sitting here on the call, and we're privileged to have him. So I'll open up the floor to Steve, and please, guys, if you've got questions, ask those questions, because you have got them. We've got we got some heavy hitters here. Vit Muller's from the high level experience is just coming in as well. So we got some heavy hitters here.
Vit, how are you, buddy?
Hey, Steve. Hey, guys. Great to I've been very well, right? I've been very well. It's great to be back in Europe. That's for sure.
I know you've relocated since last we spoke.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, yeah. I know. Yeah.
Good to see you, buddy. Good to see
Good to
you.
see you too.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was just saying, Steve, the floor is yours, mate.
okay. Well, sure. This is meant to be a roundtable discussion. So I don't have anything necessarily prepared, but I'm here to help. And we'll talk about what today is called DBR, database reactivation, and high level certainly created a lot of attention about it. But when I left the corporate world 12 years ago, it's actually 14. I've gained 2 years somewhere that I forgot about, but and with a little help, I got fired. But when I got thrown out of the corporate world 14 years ago and went out on my own, at first I told people I was a marketing agency. Not only didn't people care that I was a marketing agency, they literally told me they hated me and hated marketing agencies, and that I was slightly lower than used car salesmen and attorneys. And that taught me something about the respect that business owners have.
I just consider
Sorry, Shanna?
I didn't.
Yeah. It taught me something about the respect or lack of respect that business owners have for marketing agencies. And if we've worked with customers, we understand why. Many of them have been burned. Many of them have paid thousands of dollars for promises that never developed. And there's a lot of people out there today that because they can pay a little bit of money for a great piece of software like GHL, they think they're a marketing agency, but they've got no experience. They've got no business experience. They have none of the experience of actually delivering results. And it reflects badly on a lot of us. And so my first client, Thomas, happened to be a cigar manufacturer. Still my client today, 14 years later. Still using a system I built for him 14 years ago. And the reason why is because it's grown his business 6 times over. It's given him more freedom. He now spends 3/4 of his time. He was able to buy his dream home on a lake and spend 75% of his time fishing, while his business runs better than ever before and makes him more money than ever before, using a system I built him 14 years ago, long before GHL existed, right? And that just goes to show that with the right processes that focus on the customer's results, you literally make yourself unfireable. He could not fire me if he wanted to, because 25,000 customers, we'd be turning off the lights and pulling the plugs on 25,000 customers that are embedded in his different workflows everywhere. He couldn't fire me if he wanted to. I could call him every name in the book, which I have, but he can't fire me. But he happens to be one of my best friends now also. So that's a value.
I just found my new best friend, Stephen.
Yeah. Well, you should have known me 3 years ago, Thomas, because I gave up cigar smoking. Now that I'm an old fat guy and I can't get insurance, the last thing I needed to be doing was I used to do calls like this on my back porch smoking a cigar like you. But as I said, that's I had to stop that. And I couldn't stop it because I had a nice humidor with about anywhere between 60 and 80 really nice cigars at any time in there, aging beautifully. And so even if I said I'm going to stop, I couldn't because, well, like Stephen said, right? He had to park himself way out in the middle of nowhere to stop. So who knows Tom Gaddis? Anybody here know Tom Gaddis? You see, Vit knows Tom. Tom's a very successful marketer and a GHL agency. One of the two off Humidor of 80 cigars and shipped it to Maui. It cost me $700 to ship it. So I could have shipped it to London. I'm sorry I didn't know you, Thomas.
You knew me 3 years ago, though, Steve.
Yeah, I did. But I was still recovering from that gummy you gave me.
Oh, this is getting very interesting now.
I've got to explain that. So There's some things that are legal in Dallas that aren't legal in other places, and I got dragged down to a special store and got a special lolly. And the guy said, take one at a time. First night was 7, and sharing them around. So I made the level up event a lot more interesting for a lot of people.
Oh my goodness.
That's the PG versions.
Stephen, that kicked my butt. I mean,
Oh.
yeah, whatever you had there, it kicked my butt. All right.
Yeah.
Anyways, we were talking about DBR. I think
Yeah.
right before cigars and gummies, we were talking about DBR, right? So, all right. But here's the bottom line. I always use what today we call DBR as the easiest way to get a new client and to turn that client into a long-term client, to convert a prospect. And it's because we could do a really, really quick win. I always called mine sales CPR. That's my own proprietary name. And then many of you probably know that I created the win back campaign or snapshot for Extendly that many of you might even own. And so those are the 2 ways that I've always gone to market with it. But who here has done a DBR for clients? And you get good results? You want to share those results?
I just had a client was about to lose a client. I had a guy that I consult with, and he was about to lose a client in the solar industry. And they also do boilers down in Brighton in the UK. And they were about to lose him. They weren't doing the follow-ups and doing the things that they should. I said, does he have a day? And I was speaking to you the day before, Steve, and convinced him that, let's get some easy wins. Let's get that database reactivation out there. We blasted some emails, we blasted some SMSs and all of that sort of thing. That saved his account, kept him with a $5,000 a month client. So that's a recent win that I had coaching a client. But Vic, you're about to say something, were you, mate?
Yeah, well, 2 things. I mean, the first one, the CPR thing. Me and Steve, we did an episode on it a while back, but I think still very relevant. So I'm actually trying to find. I'm going to drop it in here. But I did a DBR. It works really well for a martial arts club in Canberra. How it is, martial art club owners, passionate coaches, and they happen to then open the dojo. This guy, he didn't even have CRM, right? So I just got him to just combine all the contacts from your phone, from wherever you can, put it somewhere, put it in a spreadsheet. I had to explain what spreadsheet is. Anyway, he gave it all to me, but did some cleanup on the numbers and, getting the numbers right and all that stuff. And ended up being only about 500 contacts, actually. It wasn't a huge number. He actually told me he doesn't save, he doesn't really save contacts. So that's all he had, but he could have had way more because he's been doing it for 15 years, So I had about 500 contacts, but we run a simple reactivation on those that, were no longer part of the dojo. And out of the 500, about 50 responded to the offer. And from those 50, I think about 20 converted to a member. So it's a no-brainer. I mean, it really works.
I love what you just said, Vit. Tell me this. Did he do anything? You said 50 responded, 20 took the offer. Did he do anything for the remaining 30?
It's been a while, but basically all 50 responded. About 40 of them ended up coming along for the initial offer, which was a comeback for a week of free training. But those 20 turned into regular members.
So the answer is yes, you did. If you got them in the dojo, then because that's a point. That's a great point, and I'm glad you did it, Vit. Very smart. Many people miss. They're happy with the 20 out of the 50, and the whole point about doing a reactivation like this is yes, you get quick sales, but you also get information on everybody else. So one thing that I do when I do a reactivation is I make it multi-step for exactly the reason we just talked about. All right. You get the people that respond, but what I might do is I might get them to actually opt in a second time. You might ask, well, why get them to opt in? They've already opted in. Well, number one, I want to create these steps. Number two, in today's world, there's some disadvantages to the reactivations we didn't have a couple of years ago. Reactivations, number one, we used to be able to just sign somebody up and blast out texts on the same day just a few years ago. Of course, now we've got A2P10 DLC in the States to worry about, and other things. And with email now, you know, the Gmail and Yahoo and Microsoft are making it hard to get emails delivered if you don't warm up your email the right way and send it out. So unfortunately, those days of just going in and just setting people up and blasting away, those were great. We look like heroes. But the reality is today, there's some things we have to do. Now, one of the things that I was speaking on stage at one of Josh Nelson's events, and somebody raised their hand and started talking about they had gotten sued and their client got sued for a TCPA violation, which is I might screw this up, but I think it's a Telephone Communications Privacy Act. It has to do with text messaging, all right? And the bottom line is there are lawyers out there, you know, ambulance chasing, low-life lawyers out there that are looking to create lawsuits for people, and they're contacting agencies and their clients, and they're saying, you didn't follow the correct opt-in procedures before you started text messaging. And the agency and the client always said, yeah, we did. And then the lawyer says, prove it. And if you don't prove it, we're going to sue you. What do you mean by proof? Well, when did they opt in? Where did they opt in from? What was the agreement that they can't, you know? And the bottom line is most people are not cool, Vit. Most people are not documenting this and saving it. So one of the first things I do right now is I get people on a DBR. One of the first things I do is say, hey, we got this great thing we'd like to send you, but we want to make sure we're updating our records and our privacy. We need you to fill out this form and give us consent again. And we ask them, does it cut down conversions? Yes. All right. But if somebody is not going to fill out the form, and they're not interested enough to fill out a form, they're not interested enough to take out their wallet and buy your product. Okay. So fine. So we eliminate some people. That's absolutely fine. What we get out of it is I'm always looking to get people to raise their hand. Just like Josh said, he got 50 people to raise their hand, and then he got 20 of those people to go ahead and buy. Look at that. Every time I raise my hand, it raises my hand there. Lower my hand. Okay. So, all right. So anyways, so that's one of the first things that I do. Then I might ask them to go watch a video. You know, I might ask them to do several things. I might ask them to claim a coupon. And the bottom line is I'm creating all these steps so that I could always go backwards at the end. Whoops. Steve, take over for me. I got to talk to the wife for a second.
You're right, go for it.
All right. Hey.
I've just muted him so we don't have to listen to his wife. So, but following on from what Steve's saying, I'm not sure if it's correct now. And Thomas, actually, you'll be able to help out. They say 11 or 12 touch points before somebody buys from you these days, isn't it? Whether that's
context,
email.
I think it depends on the contacts, like through like Google ads, or that might be a good number, but Meta ads is 27.
27
touch points. But that's end to end though. So that's from the Meta ads to the point where they make a commitment. So it's higher now because the attention span's getting smaller and competition is through the roof.
Yeah.
So it is much higher now.
Yeah, and that can be a mixture of emails and ads and follow-ups and billboards on roads or whatever it may be. 27 touch points. Geez, I'm glad I don't sell anymore.
Yeah, I actually have some thoughts on that in a second, but I want to hear from Vit.
Oh, I was just going to follow up what you said, because I know you're brilliant at really going and digging into the metrics of your emails, Steve. And the one thing that, you know, I picked up on this over the years, you know, watching what you share on Facebook is, and also talking to Kristen Rushman, she's really good with email deliverability as well. It's, you might have an email list of 10,000, but like if it's all just like they're not engaging, they're not really opening your inbox, then every newsletter you send out to that email is hurting your deliverability even further. Whereas if you shorten it down to just 100 of people who actually open every single email, and you know a lot of them actually even click through or respond, your reputation will be way better, so that when the new lead comes in, a fresh new one, you know, everything just works. So it's quality over quantity, isn't it?
It is. So, but here's a trade-off to that. You know, I've heard all those things about touch points and stuff like that, but the reality is it's BS. All right. The reality is it all comes down to timing. And it's funny because I got an email from Dan Kennedy today, and you know, Dan Kennedy is one of the grandfathers of this entire industry long before there was even internet. But his whole email today says exactly what I've been saying for all these years, which is it's all about timing, you know, and at any one point, you got between 1% and 3% of a market that is ready, willing, and able to buy your product right now, which means 97% to 99% are not. And Thomas, that's why you and I have to hook up, because you might generate a lead. That lead says, yeah, I'd like to know more, but they're not saying, yeah, I'm ready. Okay. There goes the hand again. All right. I'm going to sit on my hands here. All right. So, you know, I once made the biggest sale of my life on the very, 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 very first call. And the reason was because I got lucky. I was at the right place at the right time, talking to the right person. This book called So What Do You Do? I've got a chapter in here called The Perfect Sales Storm. There's my chapter in there. And that's the story of my biggest sale ever. I got lucky. Right place, right time, right message. All right. But timing is the most important thing. And you can read the story in the book. I'm not going to go in the whole story here. But the bottom line is I also have clients that have taken 15 months to nurture before they buy. But it all comes down to timing. Some people are ready, willing, and able right now. You know, Thomas, you want a cigar right now. I get it. You know, some people, it's going to be a long time. So that's one of the reasons that reactivation works so much, is because people didn't necessarily say no before. They just said not right now, or even maybe. But if you don't follow up, it's going to be a no. Now, one thing to Vit's point, here's what I do. I have a workflow that tracks any activity that somebody does. That could be opening an email, clicking an email, visiting a website. You know, think of all the activities that you could think of that could trigger a workflow. All right. And that starts a workflow that literally counts the number of days. And I set a tag for people that have engaged within the last 7 days, the last 14 days, 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, etc. All right. Now, the next time they do an activity, that resets. Okay. There's something listening. It takes them off that sequence, starts the sequence again. So it starts at the top. You guys follow me? So for every contact in my database, I've got one of those tags. Now, whenever I do a blast out, I put conditions at the top, and I send to anybody that engaged in the last 7 days. They're the first batch of emails that go out. Okay? 14 days are the next batch. The open rate goes down dramatically. You would be shocked at how fast. I might get a 60% open rate for people that have engaged in the past 7 days. It might go down to 40% after 14 days, and it might go down to 20% after 30 days and beyond. So what Kristen said about only emailing newsletters once a month, she's absolutely right. You know, think about that, because the 30%, you're long forgotten within a month from anybody you're sending emails. So they're not paying attention to you. But the people that are paying attention to you, they're listening. They're like, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. Yeah, I'm interested. Here goes the hand. Watch this. I'm interested. I'm interested. I'm interested. I'm ready. Okay. And that's what we got to get. That's the best way to be doing this. And detecting those signals. Most people look at marketing as the message, they push it out. I'm looking at what signals can I generate and bring back in, and then acting on those signals. And that's how I structure my DBRs. And that's what makes them so successful, is I use it to generate and detect signals. Does that make sense?
Oh, it's the same thing with SMS. So you still use the same methodology, but it's the medium, the channel is SMS. I had a follow-up question. What you said is new accounts, and how would you use a newsletter to warm up a new sending domain? if you don't have that initial data, for example. I mean, logic
That's
tells me the first thing I would do is do like a long drip. So if you got a newsletter, spread it out over that month, and by the time it gets to the end of the month, I'm sending the next one, but it kind of spreads it out, and then maybe I don't know.
well, yes, but I'm not a fan of just doing newsletters.
Mm.
I'm a fan of what flawless follow-up is a sequence of different strategies. It's all designed to who's familiar with the term cadence as it applies to sales? Okay, cadence is a rhythm, right? And it's how we speak to somebody. It's how quickly do we email them? How aggressive are we with the way that we speak to them? All right. What I want to know is not every contact in my database. You might have a list of 50,000 people, but in that list of 50,000 people, they're not all interested right now. And so you don't want to be sending the same message to all 50,000 people. What you want to do is you want to send a message that helps detect the people that are paying attention and listening, and then you pick up the cadence. You send them more information. People think, it's completely contrary to what people think. People are afraid if I send too much information, I'm going to piss them off. It's quite the opposite. People that love to hear from you, they want to hear more from you. So when you detect those people, now, when you see that people aren't really paying attention, you back off a little bit. But I'm never a fan of a monthly newsletter. Look, I'm a fan of daily emails. And frankly, I've been guilty myself. I have not been sending daily emails lately to this audience because I've been very active in another niche or vertical, if you will. So, but the bottom line is, yeah, I mean, the people that want to hear from you, you really can't send them too much as long as you're sending good stuff. I mean, just take a look at Stephen Tann's Facebook feed, right? I mean, he's posting every 10 minutes.
And it's working, isn't it, Mike?
Exactly. Exactly.
But just adding to your email thing, so I email every day. I have a rotating list. I've got about 27,000 in my list. I email 1,500 people every day. And I automatically look for those triggers that you said before. See, those people that open the email, that visit the website, that click on the link, that book a call and all of that sort of thing. So they'll automatically get the next one. But when they start not opening the emails or not clicking the emails, they're slowly rotated off that list and a new person is brought in, and we track those actions again from those emails. And my little personal website, just me, is getting 60,000 visits a week. Every 30 days at the moment, and that's through doing those email things. I'm not converting them the way I should be converting them, or doing anything with it really. But I sort of built that as a test case to see if I can automate all of that, and just basically it does it itself. With email domains, I think I showed you that I've got 10 domains hooked up. If my bounce rate goes over 2%, it turns that off, and puts it back in warm up mode, and and so on and so forth. So those 1,500 emails, each one will do 150 a day if they're all working full on. And we're tracking bounce rates and click rates and basically rotating that list through. So those people that are clicking on the emails are seeing me more often. But then I've got them into another automation when they're getting very interested. I'm encouraging them and changing the verbiage and changing the cadence, as Steve said, is if they're interested, I'm encouraging them to book a call. If they're looking at my high ticket item, I'm pushing the high ticket item, or my consulting, and so on and so forth. If they're just shopping around and skipping all over the website, I'm pushing my book or my free calls, or to come on these calls, and so on and so forth. And it 100% does work, Steve. And I didn't know I was using your methods. I thought I must have learned them from somewhere.
Well, another thing I want to address, another thing that Vit he said that was so wise, but I'm going to modify it a little bit. Here's another thing that I do, because I've learned from experience, And here's an example. One of the clients that I did a DBR with was a weight loss doctor. All right, and he was sending out a monthly newsletter and not generating anything from it. All right, and in terms of business or leads or anything else. So I said, let's do this my way, what I call sales CPR. We generated $22,089 from him in a 4-day campaign from the same people that he sent a newsletter to every single month. But by condensing it into a 4-day campaign, we got all the sales. Now, the first thing he said to me was, man, you're going to piss everybody off. They're going to unsubscribe. I said, I'm going to make you 2 promises. The first promise is you're going to get people that unsubscribe. I promise you, you are going to get people. You might even get people that reply and call you names. I said, but I also promise you that you're going to get the information that could get you more sales. Listen to that very carefully. Don't promise the sales. You can't promise the sales unless you're closing the sales. Unless you're going to be the sales closer, there goes the hand. All right. You can't promise sales. Don't promise sales. Promise you're going to get them the signals to make it easy to sell, which is what I promised him, and he turned out and closed $22,089. And he got maybe 30 people that unsubscribed from a list of 10,000. And I said, so I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Give me the $22,000 and I'll put those 30 people back on your list. I said, that's okay. I'll take the $22,000. Yeah, okay, so people that said they weren't interested anymore got off his list. No big deal. That's part of what we're doing is cleaning up your list. But here's the thing. And weight loss is a great example because those were all people that he'd helped lose weight in the past, but he simply said, they need help again. You know, if you just took off 40, 50, 60 pounds, you're not listening. You're not paying attention. But if you put back that 40, 50, or 60 pounds, like, damn it, I got to do it again. And so timing is the issue. So to Vit's point, once people get beyond a certain amount of time, call it 60, call it 90 days, they're really not paying attention. You should not be emailing them all the time. But the emails you do send out periodically, they got to be really good emails trying to get their attention to start saying, I should pay attention again. Yeah, Vit and I haven't talked to each other in a couple of years, but I guess, Vit, you probably saw that I was going to be here, and you probably said, hey, I want to pop in and say, see Steve. It's been a while. I was so happy to see Vit. Maybe not. Maybe you just want to see Steve, and then I'm just feeling, just trying to feel good about myself, Vit.
Yeah.
But but the point of the matter is timing changes, and so what you're trying to do is get those people re-engaged. Now, once they re-engage, guess what? They're back in that 7-day period. Now you're going to start emailing them, picking up that cadence we talked about, and emailing them more. Oh, Vit, go ahead. You are happy to see me. Yay.
Of course, mate. Of course. I'm going to be to pick one with you because I've messaged you last year. I was doing a road trip down to, Anyway, that's a separate message. I was doing a road trip down to Austin. I was hoping to catch up, but I was going to pick your brain on something because what you're talking about, it's traditional funnel, awareness, consideration, decision. If somebody's not responding, they go all the way back to the top of the funnel because now they've gone cold. They're definitely not in the consideration or decision. They're back into an awareness, or they've completely forgot be aware about the problem because maybe, like I said, they've lost weight. Now they slowly put weight back on, but they haven't really, it's really not been on their mind, but at some point it will. So while back, 3 years ago, when I was building my lead nurture system, I was thinking about the concept of a funnel and those awareness stages and the different content that you send out through email and what you're sending people to, whether it's something awareness related, like, educational article, a blog post, or in form of video, versus if it's something that's a decision related, which would be, comparison page, pricing page, a product guide, or those sorts of resources that all of them could be sent through, like, reference through an email into a click-through, right? So I was thinking, what if you created a point matrix to this, so that if somebody's clicking on an awareness-related stuff, you give it a different points on that, or different category, I should say, but then also based on the effort it takes for them to consume that content. So if it's an open email, less effort, versus if it's click through to watch your video, more effort, all the way to get into an opt-in page, to a lead magnet page on the back of an email, and filling a form adds even more effort, right? What do you think about using it as a system to, because it's another data point. We're talking about data points, right? The ones you talked about so far is opens and clicks and responses. And what this does is just adds another data point where you're also measuring the type of content they get and whether that content relates to an awareness stage, just consideration or decision, and also point scoring based on the effort they have to go through to get to that resource.
I think it's brilliant. I think you're right on target. I've done entire lessons on scoring matrices, and that's basically what you're describing. Okay, so you're 100% right. Most people I see do lead scoring, they do it wrong. Like, if this happens, give them a point. If that happens, give them a point. All right. What Vic just described is the correct way to do a scoring matrix. All right. And a matrix, think of a table. Let's do a 3x3. Okay. And one of them, I love what you said, Vic, because you're right. One of them is effort. How hard is it? Opening an email is no effort at all. In fact, sometimes it's even automatic. There you go. Oh, go ahead. Is that yours, Stephen?
That's
no,
me.
Not me. I'm not that organized.
That's me. I was just adding extra
Vic,
visual.
You've done it. I don't have to explain it. You've done it. What you've done is 100% right. Explain it.
Oh, you're okay. I was gonna keep the commentary for you, mate. Yes, I mean, it's this. I mean, it's just I'm very methodological when I think about stuff, and it's not always being proven. Sometimes I like to validate it and ask peers about it, which is what I'm kind of doing right now. But it makes sense, right? So you got opening an email, it's a low effort versus purchasing something that'd be high effort, high commitment, or booking an appointment. So you might, and then so what I did here is I thought, okay, well, you might have 3 different type of content. So if I go to the summary page here, awareness, consideration, decision, top, middle, bottom. What I've done, and this is just good old Google, right? Researching on type of content that relates to those stages, right? So you got blog posts, how-to videos, infographics, value info emails, value social media posts. That would be all awareness. Versus consideration might be more opt-in based, more ebooks, webinars, newsletters, live events, FAQs. That's definitely a consideration, right? Somebody's exploring, but they're not deciding on making a purchase. They're just considering it. Versus demo videos, comparison pages, pricing pages, case studies, product guides, review articles. All those would be a decision type content. If you're going to buy a new car, you're gonna go through all that. You're gonna be comparing the heck out of Ferrari versus Lambo, right, and all that stuff, for example. So what I thought would make sense is, okay, so I might have an awareness related content that does require a form submission to get that piece. So say like what do we got here? A really cool infographic, which is awareness, but it's infographic. So I'm going to put an opt-in behind it. But it's awareness, so I'm going to give it 25 points. Versus if it's consideration-related content behind an opt-in, I'm going to give that 50 points. Versus, you get the point. So it's just simple 2x and 3x on that one. And then when I was thinking about how do I systemize the rollouts of long nurture campaigns. Now this goes slightly away from the concept that you're talking about here, Steve. So I might have to go back to the drawing board on this. But like when I was thinking of like, okay, how do I like offer somebody a 12 months nurture campaign to build for them? If you don't know what stage that contact is at initially, then the next logical thing would be you just pepper it through, you just mix it up a little bit. So you do a lot of awareness, some consideration, right? So 2-to-1 ratio. You know, you kind of mix it up, and then you just spread out the type of content. So you might have week 1 blog post, week 2 how to video, then an email that drives them into an ebook, and then throw in a case study on week 6. And then that's your whole 12 months. And then you just get a client. It's like, okay, well, look, we're going to do this. If you have lots of videos, if you have lots of articles, then that's going to make our job easier. That might be a 5K setup or 2K setup, you know, depending how, you know, streamlined you are fulfilling on that. But if you don't have none of that, well, then we're going to have to create that content as well, because it's really hard to build emails that are meant to be pointing to a content or a funnel or an opt-in page if they don't have it, right? So I'm diverging here a little bit, but yeah, I just wanted to share this because I always wondered what people think about it, you know?
Absolutely brilliant, mate.
Well, it's brilliant, and I can tell you more about than just what I think about it. It works, and I'll give you a specific example. All right, but I've done a lot with a lot less. I want to tell you that's extremely detailed, which I love, and but I also don't want people to get intimidated by something like that, because that's extremely well done. But you don't have to be that precise to get results. The only thing I don't want people to get intimidated by how well done that is. But I don't want to take anything away from that. That's beautiful and brilliant, and that will absolutely work. And the proof is, I'll go back to my cigar guy. All right, you had in your table, you had something about when they get to the review page, and I think you even had that at the bottom of the funnel. That shows somebody's looking to make a decision. If I remember your table right, Vit, I think.
Let me bring it up again. Yeah. So review page.
You had review page, and I think it was at the decision point of your.
Was that in here on the points matrix?
No, it was there, bottom of the funnel. Right there, analyst papers, review articles.
Right, okay, yeah.
And comparison page, okay? So this is what I want to tell you about my cigar guy. On his website, he had a page where people sent in their reviews of the different cigars. And we discovered exactly that. At that point, people were trying to make a decision. Which cigars should I buy? So whenever somebody landed on that page, Vit's got it exactly right. It's decision time. That's a hot signal. That triggered a workflow for us, and we waited 20 minutes to see if they made a purchase. And if they didn't make a purchase, we sent out an email that said, having trouble deciding which cigar to pick? Take 10% off of a sampler from us, so you get to try them all. We sold the hell out of that.
Brilliant.
It was exactly what Vit said. But when you reckon, this is what we're talking about, and that's picking up the cadence. When we recognize somebody's making a decision, we pick up the cadence and we give them a reason to buy right now. Now, we didn't send that. He's got 25,000 cigar smokers on his list. We didn't send that email out to all 25,000 people. We sent it to that person that was at the bottom of the funnel, and we sent it out within 20 minutes of them getting there. And man, that was one of our most successful campaigns. And the thing is, that's still in existence today. That's not a campaign. It's not a campaign you send out every once in a while. That's something that's always there and always closing sales. That's brilliant, Vit, what you did there.
I've got one more question on this though, because this is about like creating content and like this is about reactive, right? So you're reacting to how they engage with it, and that's how you get the data points. But you know, how would the a qualification go into the mix, right? Because like when I was going through all this, I was thinking lead grading, which is the quality, lead scoring, which is, you know, points on different things they engage with. But the qualification, is it this one? Oh, this is B2B, right? So industry, job title, B2C, you know, marital status, professions, educational. You know, how does that come into the picture? In the ideal world, somebody comes in and they give you all that information, but it doesn't happen always, right? So if you don't get that information on them, yes, you can do some enrichment and all that stuff, but the only thing you're left with is to work off the point system, which still kind of works. If somebody's consuming more consideration related stuff, then it's like, cool, well, I don't know if they qualify, but they're definitely in the buyers. Looks like they have a lot of buying intent or potential like a buyer intent. Then you just got to do the last step at the end, which is the qualification, right? Just want to take your point, your 2 cents on that, Steve.
So I got 2 thoughts on that. All right.
You're muted.
I'm muted?
Sorry, that's me. No, that's me. Sorry.
Okay. You're deaf. So 2 thoughts about that, Vic. Okay. Look, at some point in time, you let the system be the funnel. All right. If you're trying to be so perfect to get everything to line up all at once before you send the perfect message, okay, I do think that you're probably over engineering. All right. And again, I say that with all respect for what you built there, because it's magnificent what you built. But one of the problems with what you built there that I face in reality is many businesses don't have that much content. All right. And that it's going to take to do that. And they haven't built that content in that way. And either A, they're going to have to pay you a fortune to do that, or B, you're going to have to do a lot of work for a little bit of money because if they don't have the budget, or C, it's going to take a long time. And so at some point in time, that's the only thing I would look at that and say is my concern there is that, I have not run into many clients that have the exact content it would take to build it out the way that you have. So at some point in time, we just send it and let things happen the way that that God intends it to happen, and it usually ends up that way, right? All right, now, but here's the second thing. Here's the cool thing, is that you can qualify people over time, all right, by their actions. All right, so let's look at a pet store. Okay, well, over time we can learn about their pets. We might ask them to fill out a survey. Tell us everything about your pet. Tell us, what is it, a dog? Is it a cat? How much does it weigh? What breed is it? How old is it? And when's its birthday? We could ask them all those questions, and they might not answer it. Okay, but in a nurture campaign over a course of several weeks, we could send out an article about how to train puppies, and another one about how to take care of your older dogs. All right, and based upon their responses and their actions and what we learn from their actions, we could start filling in those boxes that you're looking at to how to qualify somebody. So there's different ways to, and that's why I said what I said 6.5 minutes ago. Marketing is not about what you push out, it's what you take back in. Now, here's a great trick. Here's a great trick that you could put up a form. You could put up a form, and everybody probably knows how to do this. And if not, look it up, or Stephen will tell you. You could put up a form and hide the email address, and give a link to somebody. Well, hell, we even have sticky forms, and you might not even need to do that because you could just use sticky forms. But the bottom line is, you could send somebody to a form page that says, "Hey, tell us your dog's name." So we'd like to say hello to your dog. Tell us your dog's name, and basically ask them for one bit of information at a time. But what you're doing is qualifying people at all times. It doesn't feel like they're filling out a form, if you understand what I mean. But you can get a little bit of data at a time and build out their record. It's a form of enrichment, Steve, but it's not, or Vit, but it's not like just going out there and going to a service to enrich data. But you could enrich the data just by the responses that you're able to elicit from your nurture. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I guess you could also maybe get like really well-trained bots and taskers. Like, look, we're kind of looking for this type of information. We have these custom fields. So if at any point you speak to someone and they mention this or that, make sure you save it against that field. To do that too, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's an app out there. There's an app out there in GHL land. It's called Mind Dash something. So it's an app in the marketplace, and somebody built it. And if you get a first name, last name, location, and date of birth, it will go out and create psychological reports on how to sell them, how to sell to them, how often to email them, and it will create absolutely all of that. So if you really want to nerd out, it's out there. It's in the marketplace. It's not mine, and it's only $1 per call. So to get all of that information,
Very cool.
Well, I'm gonna say no to that because I tend to over-engineer things. And,
Guys, I've got to answer a call from Toy about, because we're here for GHL Starboys and all of that sort of thing. Toy, to answer your question, you are seeing the masters at work here with Steve Rosenbaum, Mike, Thomas, Vit, and all of that sort of thing, and they are building absolute killer systems and all of that sort of thing. The team at GHL Starboys do take these sort of systems on board and learn from them. We're actively in our C-suite team are actively enrolled in Josh Nelson's 7-figure agency and some other courses out there where we're learning as much as we can. But we are more your implementation team, if you like. So if you're coming to us with Steve Rosenbaum's vision or Vit Muller's vision or Thomas Lee's vision or Mike Kirby's vision, we can certainly implement that for you, and also help you in ways to get what you need built within your CRM. So hopefully that answers your question. And that's exactly why, Toy, we are offering calls like this as well. So you can get that information, work out what you want, and then help you build it. So hopefully that answers your question, Toy. So sorry to interrupt, guys. I've also just put a link in the chat. So Steve Rosenbaum and myself are doing these calls same time tomorrow, every week as well, going forward. So if you want, you can see in the chat, that's Steve's balls on his chin. So yeah, come along to those, guys. There's a link there to register and all that sort of thing.
I want to say a little something about what we're doing tomorrow. And one of the things that's close to my heart that I'm looking at, I am really interested in, well, here, let me say, and Vit, let me explain, Vit, why I didn't respond to you and why I missed you. I would never not respond to you, okay? But I have not been nearly as visible in the GHL space and the agency space for about the past 2 years. And the reason why is because I'm working much closer with larger companies. I'm working as a fractional executive, taking on bigger projects that also pay more money, and also and I have a real passion for the term fractional executives. Who's familiar with that term, fractional executive? All right. Do any of yourselves consider yourselves fractional executives? All right. So here's something, my personal story. All right. I've always had a passion for helping smaller businesses, and I always had a goal for. When I wrote my first book, Back End Blueprint, back there, I outlined a goal of helping 10,000 businesses make an extra $1 million, which I knew I could do that. I had helped many businesses make an extra $1 million. I just needed to get to 10,000. The point of the matter was, I knew that we had to make this scalable. We had to make it available to small businesses, and that was always my passion. But I want to tell you that my agency struggled. As much as I know, when I tried to help small businesses, I struggled. They required too much work, too much time trying to sell things, too much time trying to build out the perfect system. They would tell me what they wanted when they were wrong. They didn't know what they wanted. That's why they were hiring me in the first place, and they could never pay enough. And I struggled with my agency. But then when I started positioning myself as a fractional executive and taking that same information to larger companies, there's no problem asking for $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 a month. I had one client pay me $18,000 a month last year. And guess what? I was essentially doing the same work. Maybe a little more, okay, but they were entitled to it. But the reality is, where I pivoted and left this market was that I went into the bigger market, bigger businesses as a fractional executive. And my mission right now, because of the stage of life that I'm in, and because there are so many people that are getting displaced from the corporate world and whatnot, is to help people become fractional executives. And that's a lot of what I'll be talking about when we get together on these Wednesday calls. So if that's of any interest to you, I'd encourage you to come in, because it's not all going to be about marketing. It's not all going to be automation. From my point, Stephen can talk about whatever he wants. All right. But I want to help. I want to help. Ultimately, I want more businesses to be successful, but I also want all of us to be more successful. And frankly, I know I had very real struggles out there just trying to be an agency serving small businesses. That's a tough business, folks. And I pivoted in that. And so if that story interests you at all, that's part of what I'll be sharing when we have these calls.
And I've got a similar run in helping small businesses and coaching and consulting and working in the fractional space as well in smaller gigs than Steve, because I'm not as good as him. But yeah, that's exactly the idea of that call. And we'll be putting together packages where a fractional executive can go in, take the tools, take the team, and fulfill their contracts and make it so much easier for them as well. So come along, the link's in there, and hopefully we'll see you on these ones on Tuesdays and the other ones on Wednesdays. Same time, same link, so I can't make it any easier for you, Bit.
All right, I just want to say one more thing. I was on the LinkedIn yesterday, just trying to be more active on LinkedIn, and there was a lady in Sydney that goes after government organizations, big corporates, and all that stuff, and they're all facing this big change based on what she put up in this post, and makes a lot of sense. They're all realizing, the technology is shifting. The bigger organization, it's a lot more painful to make quick changes, and makes perfect sense that fractional CAO, fractional exec thing, because of that. And she said one thing that actually made a lot of sense is, they cannot make these big changes. They cannot take on these big projects and do these big transformations. What we found works is just doing a small transformation at a time to give them that breathing room to then feel more confidence in doing the next thing or doing a slightly bigger transformation. Would you say that's still the case? Or that's what you experienced, Steve?
Yeah, I'll give you I'll give you a couple examples of it. So the company that I had a 6-month engagement with last year, that was $18,000 a month that I mentioned, was an 89-year-old manufacturer, a plastics manufacturing company, an injection molding company. All right, the owner had died, and some investors out in New York bought the company. They did not do their due diligence. They had no idea what they bought. All right, they really bought it, I think, for the real estate, because they had 250,000 square feet of space. They had 30 machines. I think they tried to buy the physical assets, had no idea what they bought in terms of a company. The bottom line is, these folks were so outdated, and this is not an isolated story. There's a lot of these businesses out there, and there's a lot of companies, by the way, that are acquiring companies like this and need help from people like you and me to go in there and figure out the ways to fix these companies. This company was working on an old IBM mainframe computer called an AS400 from the 90s. The data was locked in there. They had no way to get the data out besides printing out green bar reports, 500 pages long. The gray hair guys are nodding their head. They know what I'm talking about. All right. This is so the bottom line is, they had no insight into their data. So much so, I went in, figured out how to get the data out, figured out how to write the SQL queries to get it out, where the tables were. The bottom line is, I found for them $3 million worth of business from people that bought within the past 18 months and had never bought again. Talk about a DBR, starting with thousands of customers totaling $3 million worth of business. They had no insight into that. All of us here know how to do that. They paid me $18,000 a month to do that for 6 months.
You were too cheap, Steve. Too cheap.
Probably.
Yes.
Probably. On the other hand, I know we were talking about, Vit, you threw out numbers the other day. Is that a few minutes ago, is that a $2,000 job or a $5,000 job? And I'm looking at the work that you were talking about needing to be done for that. And I'm telling you, that's a $25,000 job to the right company.
True.
There's a lot of people out.
I'm not picking on you, Vit. I'm just trying to put perspective.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there, Stephen. Maybe we'll touch on it tomorrow that are doing. I'll go in, do your data, give me your database in your account. I'll do the database reactivation and take 50%. Nothing up front.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of people doing it now.
And that's a model too. Now the other thing is, if you look at a lot of these companies, if they wanted to go out and hire people with the experience that we have, by the way, I don't know everybody here, but I don't care who you are. If you're on this call right now, I'm going to tell you that you know more about these topics than people inside that company. Okay? And if they wanted to hire people that know what you know, they'd probably have to pay them $250,000 to $300,000 salary. They'd probably have to give them benefits. They'd probably have to pay a recruiter a hefty sum to get them placed. So they're looking at making a $300,000 or $400,000 investment to hire a full-time person versus getting somebody that's got that knowledge, even at $18,000 a month, is a fraction of what it would take for them to go out and fill that role. If you're having the right conversations with the right people. So this is why my interest is in fractional executives, which essentially you're doing a lot of the same thing, but instead of selling your agency and selling things by month, you are working by month, but you're getting a contract most of the time, and it's much more than a lot of us are struggling with. A lot of these smaller businesses that just don't have the budgets that it really takes for us to do what we do. And we're selling ourselves short. And I sold myself short for a long time. But that's why you haven't seen me much in this agency, lately in this group, is because I've been pivoting there. But now one of the reasons Steve and I are getting back together is I'm trying to spread the word to folks. I'm looking for people that are looking to become fractional executives and help you become fractional executives and help you get those bigger jobs. That's what my goal is, to help you. I think you're capable of doing it. There's just certain ways to do it, and I just want to lead by example.
And I'm there to make Steve look smarter. Oh, smile, guys. I'm just kidding. But guys, listen, we've gone 10 minutes over now. We've got to end this. We've got to end the call. Guys, thank you. This has been another wonderful call. I appreciate the wisdom from Steve, from Vit. Mike, pipe up next time, mate. Hopefully we'll see you on the next call. But we have got some amazing, for the guys starting their agency, that Farouk's gone, but you note takers here. If you ever want a recording of these calls, I'm happy to send them to you. If your recorder's not here, email me, stephen@stephentann.com, and I'll send you the recordings and all of that sort of thing. Guys, thanks so much. It's been great to see you, Steve. Thanks for passing on so much knowledge. I put the link in there to join Rosenbaum and Tann on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. London time. Hopefully we'll see some of you there. And you know what the goal is of those calls now on the Wednesday nights and the Tuesday nights here.
Come join us tomorrow, folks. I look forward to it. Stephen, thank you. Great seeing everybody. Vit, great seeing you.
Great seeing you too, mate.
Thank you.
I'm on my way off to the Go High Level Dublin event. So
come join us tomorrow, Anthony.
Enjoy.
That's why I was off, because I'm busy driving.
Drive safe. Be careful.
Take care, everybody. Absolute pleasure, everybody. Take care.
Thanks,
everyone.
guys. Take care.
See you guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Hang on a sec, mate. There we are.
Get all the agents get kicked out here. This is awesome. This is awesome. Because I was saying to Jared, I sent a message to Jared today. I'm like, mate, I'm missing those Aussie ones, but 5 a.m. it's a bit brutal, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to organize some really good speakers for him. Spoke to
Yeah.
the lady that she's a ClickUp verified, you know, certified, and she helps agencies. And anyway, so this is great. This is great. So I'll probably try and make it tomorrow as well.
Yeah,
But
mate, block them out in your calendar. I'm doing every Tuesday, every Wednesday. So this one's under GHL Starboys banner, and the other one's under just Steve and myself. So come along.
yeah. So the idea that I had, it was just something that I don't know why I thought of it. Maybe it was because I saw the banner for today's thing, you on the riverboat. But I was thinking, you know, have you ever thought about organizing an event on the boat? I don't know. I know you said you're using a Starlink, but
Yeah.
now that I'm back, I want to get more involved with the local GHL community, the UK, and I don't know. I mean, it's just I don't have much more to it, but I just thought you've got a venue potentially. I don't know, you know, how you feel about it, but like,
Yeah.
could be interesting as a mastermind. You know,
it would be. It'd be interesting getting my wife's permission as well, because it's also our home.
that's
it's something that we could do. So, you know, I could be moored in a place where it's next to a pub or something like that, and we've got internet off the pub, internet off the Starlink, and all of that sort of thing. Yeah, leave it with me, and I'll give it some thought, because we've got Thomas and Mike who are in the UK as well.
There's Danny Clark,
and Danny Clark as well. So there's actually a chat going around at the moment. GHL event Hilton, that they're looking at doing an AI event down in Hilton. At the Hilton,
official high level one.
No, it was the event that Danny Clark was going to be doing. He pulled out. So Aaron and Carly have taken that over, and they're doing an AI event. So yeah, mate, I'd have to put it, because it's my home as well.
It has to be super small crowd. I think like you either look at it as a mastermind to agency owners to make money, or you do it as something with just fellow mates, just to hang out, nerd out, and just share notes, right?
Exactly. That's what I do at the moment. So Thomas comes down and catches up and all of that sort of thing. Thomas is a good guy as well. I've got to know him since we've been over in the UK. And yeah, he's a good guy. He's really good at what he does as well. So he's one of the guys that joins at 11 o'clock our time on those Wednesdays. And but yeah, mate, it's a good idea. Leave it with me to think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
I'm gonna go have some dinner, mate. It's sitting on the table. My wife's snarling at me.
Yeah. You do that, mate. It's good to see you, mate.
Come along to the calls whenever you can, mate. You're always welcome, mate. You got a wealth of knowledge, and you will get leads from these calls.
Thank you. I'll look forward to it.
Okay, buddy. Speak soon.
Take care. Bye.